Japan has one of the lowest obesity rates in the developed world, and it has almost nothing to do with genetics or willpower. It comes down to a quietly engineered set of everyday habits that make overeating structurally difficult. In the next few minutes, you'll learn exactly what those habits are and how to start using them today. Habit 1. Hara hachi bu. You've probably eaten past the point of comfort. Most people have. You finish the plate because the plate is empty, not because your body asked you to stop. In Okinawa, one of the world's longest-lived communities, there's a phrase built into the culture, Hara hachi bu. It means eat until you're 80% full, not as a diet rule, as a reflex, practiced before every meal, so automatically it doesn't feel like discipline at all. Here's why it works. Your brain takes roughly 20 minutes to register that your stomach is full. If you eat at a normal pace and stop when you feel done, you've already overshot. 80% is the target precisely because it's where your body actually lands by the time the signal arrives. The takeaway is simple. Put your fork down 2 or 3 bites before you think you're finished. That gap is the system doing its job. Habit 2. Smaller plates by default. Japanese tableware is physically smaller than what most Western households use. This isn't a styling choice, it's a structural one. When your bowl holds less, you serve less, you eat less, and you never make a single conscious decision about portion size. The plate sets the portion for you. Research into how dishware size influences consumption consistently shows that people eat significantly more when the plate is larger, regardless of hunger level. You don't need to measure anything. Just swap your dinner plate for a salad plate this week and let the geometry do the work. Habit 3. Eating speed. A traditional Japanese meal isn't one large dish, it's several small ones. A bowl of rice, a small piece of fish, a side of pickled vegetables, a cup of miso soup. You move between them. Chopsticks slow the pace further, delivering smaller bites with slightly more effort than a fork. The result is a meal that takes longer to eat without anyone trying to slow down. And a slower meal gives your brain time to catch up to your stomach. Add 1 extra small dish to your next meal. A handful of something, a small side, anything that makes you switch between foods rather than race through one. Habit 4. Umami as a satiety tool. Japanese cooking is built around umami, the deep, savory satisfaction that comes from dashi broth, miso, fermented soy, and aged ingredients. Umami doesn't just taste good, it triggers a fullness signal that lingers. You finish a bowl of miso soup and you feel genuinely satisfied in a way that a bowl of plain broth simply doesn't produce. That satisfaction reduces the pull toward a second helping. It quiets the urge to keep eating. Add a miso-based element to 1 meal a day, a simple soup, a miso-glazed vegetable, and you'll notice the difference in how quickly you feel done. Habit 5. No eating while distracted. In Japan, eating at a desk or in front of a screen is culturally uncommon. A meal is its own activity. You sit, you eat, you pay attention to what's in front of you. This matters more than it sounds. Distracted eating consistently leads to consuming more without registering it. Your brain processes the food as background noise rather than a meal, so the satisfaction signal is weaker and the urge to keep eating is stronger. Eat 1 meal today with your phone face down and nothing playing, just the food. These 5 habits cover the eating side of the picture, but the system Japan has built doesn't stop at the table. The other half happens entirely outside the kitchen. Of those 5 habits, which one do you think would actually be hardest to stick to? Eating slower or putting the phone down during meals? Drop your answer in the comments below. Now let's look at what happens outside the kitchen, because that's where the second half of this system lives. Habit 6. Built-in daily movement. Here's where the system extends beyond the kitchen, because what Japan engineered isn't just a way of eating, it's a way of moving through the world. Most people in Japan don't go to the gym to stay lean. They walk to the train. They walk from the train. They take the stairs because the station has a lot of them and the elevator is slower. Urban design and a train-first commuter culture mean that moderate movement is simply woven into the day. Not scheduled, not tracked, not motivated. It just happens. The result is that a typical Japanese commuter accumulates a meaningful amount of daily movement without a single conscious decision about exercise. You don't need to overhaul your routine. Identify one car trip this week that takes under 15 minutes and walk it instead. That's the entry point. Habit 7. Green tea as the default drink. Think about how many calories most people drink in a day. A sweetened coffee in the morning, a soda at lunch, a juice in the afternoon. Those liquid calories don't register the way food does. Your brain doesn't count them toward fullness, so they sit on top of everything else you eat. In Japan, the default drink is green tea. Plain, unsweetened, low in calories, and consumed throughout the day as a matter of habit rather than health consciousness. It's simply what's available, what's offered, what's poured. The liquid calorie problem largely disappears because the default option removes it. Replace one sweetened drink today with plain green tea. Just one. That's enough to start shifting the default. Habit 8. Fermented foods at every meal. A traditional Japanese table almost always includes something fermented. Miso soup, a small dish of pickled vegetables, natto with breakfast. These aren't superfoods added for health points. They're just part of what a meal looks like. And recent research into gut health increasingly links a diverse, well-supported microbiome to better appetite regulation and lower levels of chronic inflammation. Your gut influences hunger signals more than most people realize. When it's working well, you feel full at the right time, and the urge to keep eating quiets down naturally. Add one fermented food to your daily routine. A spoonful of miso stirred into warm water. A few pickled vegetables on the side. Small, consistent. That's the pattern. Habit 9. Shokuiku. Food education as culture. Japan has a national food education framework called Shokuiku, introduced at the primary school level. Children learn not just what to eat, but how to appreciate food, where it comes from, how it's prepared, what a balanced meal looks like. By the time they're adults, eating well isn't a discipline they have to maintain. It's a default they absorbed early. Healthy eating is cultural infrastructure, not personal willpower. You can't go back to primary school, but you can apply the same principle right now. Treat one meal this week as a learning moment. Look at your plate. Notice what's on it and where it came from. That pause alone starts to rebuild the relationship. Habit 10. Food presentation as a mindfulness cue. Japanese plating is deliberate. Small portions arranged with care. Color considered. Space left on the dish. It looks like aesthetics. What it actually does is slow you down. When a meal is presented beautifully, you engage with it differently. You look before you eat. You take smaller bites. You notice what you're tasting. The act of eating becomes intentional rather than automatic. And intentional eating is slower eating, which means your brain has time to register fullness before you've overshot it. Plate your next meal as if someone else were going to photograph it. That single shift in attention changes the pace of the entire meal. None of these 10 habits require willpower. None of them require a diet plan, a gym membership, or a single moment of deprivation. Japan didn't engineer leanness through restriction. It engineered an environment where overeating is quietly, structurally difficult. Smaller dishes, slower meals, built-in movement, cultural defaults around food and drink. The system does the work, so you don't have to. And now you know exactly how to start building that same environment around yourself. Subscribe for more Japanese lifestyle habits that make everyday life calmer and smarter. And watch this next.